The 10th chapter, the scandals of the Karramiyyah. Their leader is Muhammad ibn Karram as-Sijistani. He was banished from Sijistan and went to Gharjistan, where the people of Shumeen and Afshin were deluded by his outward display of worship and fooled by his hypocrisy. They thus followed him in his fairy tales. Some people went to Naysabur with him in the days of Muhammad ibn Tahir ibn Abdullah ibn Tahir, fooled by his display of detachment. He thus led them on and fed them his heresies. Some of his followers even stepped forward to defend his ignorant statements. So one thing to notice about him is that he displayed outwardly that he's zahid, disinterested in the dunya. That's not the case for Wahhabis, though. We're going to see how close he is to Wahhabi creed. He's their real Salaf. That's not the case usually of Wahhabis. They're not detached from the dunya. You might find Wahhabi who's interested in prayer and fasting and something like that, but they're not disinterested usually. You find them liking money and eating and things like that. All of what he introduced into Islam is too abundant to be included in this summary. We have already mentioned his likening and what he says about God being a site for events. So you look in the section of God comparing. Among their silly innovations was saying that God is creator by creatorness, and provider by providerness, and knower by knowerness, and powerful by powerfulness. That's the only one that had a real word in English, powerfulness. Yeah. The other ones I had to put a dash there. Not by knowledge or power, though he has knowledge and power. That's what he says. He's saying he does have knowledge and he does have power, but he's not knowledgeable by knowledge that he has. He's knowledgeable by knowledgeableness. MashaAllah. They are thereby like the Mu'tazila, who said that God is powerful and knower, but not by power or knowledge. They differed from them by confirming the attribute, saying that he still has knowledge, but he's just not knowledgeable by the knowledge. So the Mu'tazila say he's knowledgeable, that's the adjective, or knower, that's the adjective. Not by an attribute called knowledge. These guys are saying he's knowledgeable, that's the adjective. And he has knowledge, that's the attribute, but he's not knowledgeable by the knowledge. He's knowledgeable by knowledgeableness. So they're silly.
What is knowledgeableness?
Their coinage of creatorness and knowerness is made up. It is not surprising that they would invent such slang while still being serious, because their leader in his book, The Torture of the Grave, invented what is even sillier. He has a chapter in which he confirms the objectionable kayfiyah, the how or modality. He confirms it, let's say, for Allah, but he calls it kayfufiyah, a hizal. He said Allah has a hizal.
I get it.
Or like they say for shizzle my nizzle or something like that. That's what he's doing. Yeah.
It's foolishness.
Yeah. Someone with some wits cannot decide what is dumber, confirming a kayf for Allah in the first place, or calling it kayfufiyah. Perhaps he wanted to invent an expression to demonstrate his mental prowess. He said in the same book, when speaking about the hayth, the place of what he worships, that what he worships has a special haythufiyah, a place. This book, Adhabul Qabr, The Torture of the Grave, is the source of their methodology. Therein, he said, like the Christians, that Allah is a jawhar. However, his followers denounce using jawhar for Allah, but they approve of using jism, body. So Jawhar could mean origin or entity or perhaps something else. Regardless of what it means, it's not applicable for Allah. That is like how the Shiite Shaytanul Talk refrained from calling Allah a body, but confirmed that he has the appearance of a human. What they resorted to was as evil as what they fled from. Some of what is documented in that book is that Allah is touching the Arsh, and that the Arsh is a place of His. His followers also deemed this ugly, so they avoided it and said, "We do not say Allah is touching the Arsh. We rather say that He is contacting it." God knows nothing can make a difference between those but stupidity of an entire group and lack of accuracy. They gained some followers who had more command of the language. They were ashamed of exposing this book, so they compiled another, gave it the same name, attributed it to Ibn Karram, and hid the original. It's like they got some people who are educated say, "Whoa, what is this? We can't work with this." Some of their rebellious heresies are in the chapter of prophethood and messengership. Yani the topic of prophethood and messengership. They said prophethood is merely one of the fleeting temporal qualities that make one a prophet or a messenger. Not the miracle, nor the revelation, nor the divine impeccability.
What is that temporal thing?
The temporal qualities, like all the qualities we have, moving and stillness.
Right.
Temporal, yani temporary, fleeting. Colors and smells and all that. All the normal qualities we have, they're saying prophethood is just a quality like other qualities. What they are saying is that this quality of messengership was created in him before receiving revelation. It is not something related to his acquisition of deeds. However, they are implying that the prophet's status of prophethood is not rewardable for him because it is no different from his complexion or his voice. They furthermore assert that God must make anyone having such qualities a messenger, but that he will not be a dispatched one, a mursal. He's a rasul, but he's not a mursal before being sent. They're saying he gets the revelation. When he gets the revelation, he's a rasul. If Allah didn't send him yet, he's not a mursal. According to this, they say that as long as the prophet is in his grave, he is a rasul without being a mursal. The position of the Sunni Muslims is that in his grave, he is a messenger and still described as mursal, meaning that God sent him and he fulfilled his task. Therefore, this name is applicable even if he finished his task. Just as a believer in his grave is still a believer, this name will be applicable because of what he previously did. It is normal to name someone after a deed of his, good or bad or indifferent, even if he finished doing it. This is why one is still called a Hajj, although he finished it. One may still be called by his profession, even if he retired, such as soldier, tailor, or carpenter. Like sergeant. Someone old man, they might still be like, "Hey, Sarge." Otherwise, no one with sense permits saying that the messenger is actively on duty while in his grave. Just as those whom we have mentioned do not have to be actively engaged in what names them or describes them. It is enough for a name to be applicable that one did it prior.
Power off.
One of their latter-day figures was Ibrahim ibn Muhajir, who was mentioned in the section on comparing God to the creations. He said, "A name is a fleeting quality existing through the named one." However, since a name truly refers to the named one himself, his claim dictates that what he worships is a mere quality, not a self. A name refers to the named one. Yani, like when we say, we worship Allah, So that word Allah, when we say we worship Allah, that doesn't mean we worship a name. And it doesn't mean we worship an expression. So the name refers to the named one. That's why some scholars said the name is the named one. Meaning refers to him. Yeah, so then you'd say, for example, my father. So father is the named one. Means that one. So since a name truly refers to the named one himself, his claim that a name is a quality of the named one dictates that what he worships is a mere quality, not a self. He applied this same confusion to people's names. He therefore said that a fornicator is not a body, it is a fleeting quality in the body. So that punishment for fornication would fall upon the body, not the fornicator. He said the same about the thief and other names. Despite that, he still calls Allah a body. And he said that someone saying God is merciful, creator, sustainer is a quality in the named one. So that's confusion. It makes sense to him, though. That's what happens to those confused people. Something makes sense in their own minds.
When you say quality, when he says quality, he doesn't mean attribute.
That's attribute, yes.
God is merciful and the creator.
Well, let me see the Arabic here. This is arab, saying arab, so it's the fleeting quality.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Amongst their heresies is saying that faith is the mere word bala. Indeed. That mere word that was said by the souls during the event of God taking man's covenant. Not that faith is what people say now, no God but Allah. So then they also joined into the conversation of what faith means with the Murji'ah. They say that the word they pronounced, that word bala, is valid forever, never nullified but by cognizant apostasy, yani leaving Islam on purpose. So according to that, they're saying you don't commit apostasy if you didn't mean to. That's against the rule too. That's blasphemy. And they said, if an irreligious person or a hypocrite said with his tongue, no God but Allah, with hypocrisy saying it, or with disdain for the religion he says it, according to them, he is a true believer having faith rivaling that of the prophets and messengers. And they said that the hypocrites at the time of the messenger of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam had faith like Gabriel and Michael and all of the prophets and saints. And amongst their fairy tales concerning practical rules is that prayer is permissible even if the ground, the clothing, and all of the body were filthy, not just filthy. And they claim that purification from filth is not obligatory. It's only obligatory to make purification from religious impurity, not physical najis. Wal-'iyadhu billah. So sounds like they're not making istinja. Got some dirty boys. MashaAllah.
When you say religious impurity, you mean like major?
Yeah, major or minor hadath. Religious impurity.
Wait, they claim that purification from filth is not obligatory.
Yes.
It is only obligatory from religious impurity.
Yes, that purification is only obligatory from religious impurity. They're saying you only have to make wudu or ghusl. You don't have to remove the najasa.
Ah, okay. All right. Oh, now I understand. Okay.
MashaAllah. And they claim that washing and praying for the dead is not obligatory. Only shrouding and burial are. They don't like washing, it looks like. And they claim that obligatory prayer, pilgrimage, and all other obligations do not require an intention, because the intention was made when the souls first came out of Adam. However, optional deeds require an intention because they were not covered by that initial intention. according to them. Had only they known where they got their own statements from. Yani, where's the proof for this? How do they know that the obligations were presented to them in detail and that they accepted that and intended them? Where's the proof for that? You can't know that without revelation. They cannot base that on something from God's book, because there is not more therein than that the word of faith was presented to them. The only thing that's mentioned in the Quran is what they were asked and what they responded. Alastu bi rabbikum? Am I not your Lord? Qalu bala. They said, indeed. Shahidna. We have testified. That's what's there. And there's some hadiths that have details.
This is about souls were gathered.
Yes.
Okay. So this is what they go by.
Yeah.
They make the best claim, outrageous claims.
Yes. Yeah, they took an authentic story and then they added to it. And amongst their vulgarities, atop their ignorant statements about the belief and the rules, is that one of their leaders wanted to talk about fiqh and said that the knowledge of Ash-Shafi'i and Abu Hanifa could not come out of a woman's pants. Anyone who would speak like that about the knowledge and its possessors would truly be lacking in religiosity. If one wanted to compile a book to exactify all of their strayings, he would come up with a textbook and still would not be able to catch everything they said. We ask God for compliance and protection from every blasphemy and heresy.